President Trump announced a $5 million gold card for investors to buy residency in the United States. And as someone who's been helping people move to different countries for decades, I have a lot of knowledge about golden visas and citizenship and residency by investment. And I have a lot of questions and concerns with the way that this visa is being presented and also the claims being made. So let's jump into the details of what President Trump said in the press conference and talk about each claim. Before we get started, this is not a criticism of President Trump. This is just a simple analysis of this gold card program, what its effects could be, and also why this type of thing hasn't worked in other countries.
We're going to be selling a gold card. We're going to be putting a price on that card of about $5 million, and that's going to give you green card privileges plus. It's going to be a route to citizenship, and wealthy people will be coming into our country by buying this card, and they'll be spending a lot of money and paying a lot of taxes and employing a lot of people.
So the first red flag for me here is not the fact that we're offering a gold card now in the United States, but it's the price of the program. So $5 million makes this the most expensive golden visa program in the world. But the idea is not new. There are many, many countries, almost every country that has some form of a residency by investment program, whether it's a specific, citizenship by investment where you can actually pay to get a passport of a country. Countries throughout the Caribbean, such as Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis, and also in Europe, countries like Malta have a citizenship by investment program. The next tier would be residency by investment, where you can invest in exchange for the ability to live in a country. And this can appear under a lot of different guises. So it can be a direct, donation or paycheck to a government to buy the ability to live there. Or sometimes it can be in the form of an investment, either in the stock market, in a business. Startup visas are another form of residency by investment program, and also in the housing market. So that's actually one that has been canceled in a lot of places around the world because looking at the Spain golden visa, housing golden visa, the Portuguese housing golden visa, these categories have been discontinued because it actually resulted in people from outside of the country investing hundreds of millions of euros to buy a house in exchange for the ability to live there and then putting upward pressure on prices. So this one is just a donation to the US government in exchange for the ability to live in the United States. But what confuses me about this is the high price tag, because these programs exist all around the world, from around $100,000 or $200,000 up to $1 or $2 million. And so this one at $5 million, I'm really curious about what the actual value proposition is of this type of permit when there are green cards and there are other types of programs already existing in the United States for people who want to come in and stimulate the economy, start businesses, hire employees. And so we're going to get into this in just a second, but the viability of a golden visa program that costs $5 million and then the claims about how many people can afford to buy this and would want to buy this don't add up.
Never been done before, anything like this, but
as I just mentioned, these programs exist all around the world, and there's already a program in place called the EB-5 being discontinued, and that's basically what this is.
So the EB-5 program was really, you lend some money, but it was full of nonsense, make-believe, and fraud, and it was a way to get a green card that was low-priced. So the president said, rather than having this sort of ridiculous EB-5 program, we're going to end the EB-5 program. We're going to replace it with the Trump Gold Card, which is really a green card gold, so they'll be able to pay $5 million to the U.S. government.
This program was created in 1990. It requires a capital investment of over $1 million plus employee investment amount of $800,000.
They can invest in America, and we can use that money to reduce our deficit. Why don't we eliminate the deficit of the United States of America?
Another red flag for me here is the idea that this type of a program could completely wipe out the US deficit. I'm not an economist, but that to me seems like something that's going to take funds, resources, and strategic decisions from all different areas And there's no band-aid that you can just implement one program and expect that that's going to wipe out the entire deficit. And here's where the numbers get really crazy for me. Between 2023 and 2024, there were anywhere from 150 to 2,000 EB-5 visas emitted each month. So we're looking at, maybe maximum 10 to 20,000 of these visas per year. So if we are to 5x the price of the EB-5 visa in the form of a $5 million gold card, can we expect an increase in the number of visas that people are buying? I don't know.
The gold card will bring in with it people that create jobs.
Okay, if this gold card is bringing in people that create jobs, then why did the EB-5 visa fail? If one of the requirements for the EB-5 visa is job creation, but it's not for the gold card, then how does the gold card actually create more jobs?
I think companies will pay to get people in. For instance, you today graduate from the Wharton School of Finance or Harvard or Stanford or any college. And
what would the incentive be of companies to pay $5 million per employee when they can do something like the H-1B visa, which its exact purpose is to enable U.S. companies to hire foreign workers with specialized skills in fields like engineering, computer science, and medicine?
And it'll be people with money and people that create jobs, and they won't have to pay any tax on income outside of the United States, which they're not paying right now. They're not citizens, but
that blows my mind right there. So the U.S. is one of the few countries in the world that taxes its citizens on worldwide income. So here we have a gold card that costs $5 million, that is instant residency in the U.S. and is a path to citizenship. But it also becomes a way for extremely high net worth individuals to live in the United States without paying taxes on their worldwide income. This is an exception that, to my knowledge, has not been granted to anyone, including green card holders. So the fact that these people will be able to live in the US, not pay taxes, unless they create jobs, which is not a requirement to get the gold card, is just mind-boggling. So I would also like to not pay taxes, pay taxes on my worldwide income when I'm in the United States. But if you are a US citizen living abroad, even if you're a US citizen who's never lived in the United States, then you are liable to file a tax return every year. So I'm not an accountant, don't take this as financial advice, but even you moving out of the US without renouncing your citizenship, you still continue to pay taxes on worldwide income. So this is very shocking.
they'll have to pay, if they create jobs in the United States, they'll pay full taxes like everybody else. So you're getting big taxpayers, big job producers.
That is completely contradictory. So if you're offering a visa that doesn't require job creation and you're saying you can stay in this country and not pay taxes unless you create jobs, that is a direct incentive not to create jobs in the United States and pay taxes.
And we'll be able to sell maybe 1 million of these cards, maybe more than that. And if you add up the numbers, they're pretty good. As an example, 1 million cards would be worth $5 trillion. $5 trillion.
Wow.
He says, wow, exactly. 1 million. Okay. If there were anywhere from a few hundred to 1,000 or so EB-5 visas emitted each month in 2023 and 2024, and the number of golden visas that people acquire in other countries adds up to typically about 1,000 golden visas per year. It's really hard to find that information because it's not public in a lot of cases, but from my research, countries like Spain, Portugal, Malta, you're looking at somewhere around 1,000 of these golden residency visas being emitted per year. So where are we going to find 1 million people who are willing to invest $5 million to be able to live in the United States when allegedly people with that kind of money can just come to the United States on vacation? They are not barred from opening bank accounts here. They can buy properties here. So I don't see what the incentive is for these high net worth individuals and where we will find so many of them. I tried to figure out how many people actually exist in the world that even have a net worth of $5 million, and I found anywhere from 1.5 million to up to 8.6 million. But there's a lot of different sources for that. And then even if you do have $5 million in net worth, would you actually invest all of your net worth into this type of a visa? I don't think so.
And if you sell 10 million of the cards, that's a total of $50 trillion. Well, we have 35 trillion in debt. That'd be nice. So
that would be nice. I would love if this gold card program could pay off the US deficit, but there's somewhere around 2,600 billionaires that exist in the entire world. And even on the high end, there just aren't 10 million people in the world that have $5 million. Add on top of that 40% of all millionaires live in the United States, and you're down to 60% of people who live in all of these other countries. So which countries are these people going to come from? Well, we can't know for sure, but if we look at other types of golden visa programs, China is clearly ahead. I saw statistics that said 9 out of 10 golden visa holders in countries such as Malta, Spain, Portugal are from China. So we can't exactly extrapolate that this will be the exact demographics of the people who buy the US gold card, but the numbers are not in the millions, let's say. Maybe a few hundred people, maybe a few thousand people per year who would buy this gold card. And where are they going to come from? Probably something similar to the demographic breakdown of people that are buying visas in other countries.
Well, many other countries, by the way, do this, including, of course, your 51st state does that.
It appears potentially Canada is who he's referring to, but Canada actually discontinued their golden visa program. Canada has a startup visa program, which many other countries have, where if you invest in starting a company, hiring employees in that country, you can also get residence there. But Canada doesn't have like a golden visa citizenship by investment type of program. Neither does the UK, neither does Australia. The UK and Australia actually canceled theirs after the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And so other countries have tested these types of pay-for-play visas and they didn't work out. And so these countries have been canceling them. So my big question is, what about this gold card specifically is going to make it succeed without any of the risks and negative impacts that other countries have experienced, not just their national security, but also economically and even affecting the housing market in many popular places. There's a lot of countries that have changed their golden visa programs. Cyprus is one. Spain recently discontinued the real estate portion of their golden visa. Portugal did so as well. So a lot of countries have tested this over the past 30 years and have decided that this is not the best way to inject economic growth into the country. And also, we haven't seen the kind of trickle-down economics from the top of very wealthy investors, buying houses or buying a passport. In most cases, those people don't spend any time in those countries per year, or they spend the bare minimum amount of time. One study showed that people who got citizenship by investment in Malta also invested the minimum amount, didn't spend many days there, aren't spending money there. We see this as well in the Caribbean, where people buy passports, but they don't actually live in those countries. It's basically just a one-time gift to the government. And so that's kind of what it seems like here. It's very interesting that they would take away the job creation, business development, and investment requirements and just make it like a paycheck to the US government to be able to get this benefit. I don't see how that positively impacts the normal American people, and I don't see certainty that the money that's raised by this program will pay down the deficit in any way.
But I think we're going to sell a lot because I think there really is a thirst. No other country can do this because people don't want to go to other countries. They want to come here. Everybody wants to come here.
I can say, as somebody who helps people move from the US to other countries full time, that this has been the busiest year of my entire career, and I've been helping people do this for 20 years. So there are so many reasons to live in other countries besides the US. The US has plenty of attributes, but all other countries have good things as well. And there are a lot of US citizens who want to renounce their citizenship, who want to live abroad part-time or full-time, who want to retire in other countries, who want to get residency in other countries, second passports in other countries, when there are so many other alternatives, places throughout Europe and the Caribbean, all around the world. So none of this really makes a lot of sense to me. I'd love to know what you have to say in the comments. And if you're curious about why so many US citizens are leaving the United States this year, watch this video next. And if you're one of them, you can reach out to me at travelingwithkristin.com/relocation.